Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome guys. My name is Iqala Zaman. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. This is my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge. Mukhtasar al-Qudoori is the book that we're going through. And I know some of you guys out there have been eagerly waiting for this episode or this lesson. And if you have been waiting, put it in the comments as well, so I know who my students are. Right, so al-Iqala. This is the chapter we are going to be covering today. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribe button, make sure you do that now. And let's get on with this lesson. So the lesson today is a bit long because I'm going to try, because a lot of this is very similar. It's not really kind of difficult. So that's why we can cover all of it. Okay, Iqala, it means to forgive, pardon. Okay, so let's put pardon. All right, so pardon. Okay, to pardon. Aqala yuqilu iqalatan is from there. So jaizatun, you know what that means? Actually, 1 second. Let me just, all right, so let me write that again. So this is pardon. Actually, you know, I've done that because I want the screen to have a layer so that I can adjust it later. Pardon. Okay, so pardon. Jaiza fil bay. Bay, we know all this means. All of these words. Bithaman, al-mithal. Mithal means similar. This word has come before as well. Okay, similar. فَإِن شَرَطَ أَقَلَّ شَرَطَ, it means to stipulate. أكثر شرط باطل, we've done all these words. فسخ, it means to void. Okay, to void. في حق المتعاقدين. حق means in regards, in respect to. In respect, in regards to. بيع جديد. جديد means new. أبو حنيفة حلاك ثمن لا يمنع صحة الإقالة. حلاك المبيع يمنع صحتها. All these words, we've done all these words before. Okay, next. The next one is Murabaha and Tawliya. Right, so Murabaha and Tawliya is a new topic. Okay, so Murabaha, it means what you call cost plus a cost plus sale. And a Tawliya is a cost price. Okay, so cost price, cost plus Tawliya is from the word waw lam ya, and Murabaha is from the word rabaha. Right, so rabaha means to make a profit. And Tawliya, it means to make someone else, give someone else authority or hand over something to someone else. So this is the chapter of cost plus and cost price sales. Murabaha naqlu ma malaka malaka, it means to own. Aqad is contract. Ziyada, excess. Ribh, we've just done that, it's a profit. Tawliya is naql ma malaka bil aqd al awwal, all these words. Ribh. La tasihhu al murabaha hatta yakuna. The sigha murabaha is actually from, okay, you let me know what sigha is this, what word format is this, which bab is it from? And Tawliya, which bab is Tawliya from? حتى يكون العوض. عوض means exchanged item. مثل يجوز يضيف, it means to add. Right, so add. رأس المال أجرة, it means the fee. قصار, it means someone who is a clothes washer. Clothes washer. صباغ, someone who dyes clothes. A dyer. الطراز, someone who makes embroidery or embroidered. فتل, it means to plat. Plat. Ujra is a fee. Hamal is to carry. Ta'am, food. Qama alayya. Okay, ishtaraytu, ishtara, yashtari, ishtira'an. All these words, guys, come on, we know all these words mean. Yeah, and if you don't know what they mean, then put in the comments, inshallah. Someone will answer them. If I don't answer them, someone will definitely answer them. Ittala khiyana. Khiyana means deception or dishonesty. Right, so honest. Khana yakhunu. Khansab. No. In Arabic, khana means to be dishonest. Right. So there was actually a guy who went to, I think it was Saudi, and his name was Muhammad Khan. So the Arabs got angry at him and said, Muhammad ma khana. Khana abuka. Muhammad was never dishonest. Your father was dishonest. Yeah, so this is unfortunately, he didn't understand that Khan in the subconscious actually is a title for someone who's honorable. So in the insha akhadha bi jami' al-thaman, akhadahu is to take. Radda, it means to reject. Ala khiyanatin tawliya asqata al-mushtari. Alright, so all these words. Asqata yusqitu is to drop. Okay, so la yahuttu hatta yahuttu, it means to discount. count or decrease. Alright, so this is basically the words. Now let's have a look at the vowels. This is where you guys like the vowels discussion. Actually, if I put this right over here, I think maybe you can get nicer. Now see, this is why I was telling you early on why I did that thing. Because what I can do is I can hide all of those. This is called a layer. So I put a new layer on, and then I can, make later adjustments as I please. Easy for me. Right, so babu al-iqalati. Right, so this is هذا babu al-iqalati. Al-iqalatu mubtada, and جائزة is going to be the khabar. في البيع للبائع والمشتري بمثل الثمن مضاف إليه. الأول is the صفة. فإن شرط شارط is a فعل. أقل غير منصرف منه أو أكثر. فالشرط مبتدأ and باطل is going to be the خبر. ويرد مثل الثمن الأول وهي فسخ خبر of here. في حق المتعاقدين. متعاقدين is times 2, okay, by the way. Right, the two contractors from the word عقد. عقد. بيع جديد. This is the second خبر. في حق غيرهما. في قول أبي حنيفة وحلاك مبتدأ الثمن لا يمنع صحة الإقالة. وحلاك مبتدأ المبيع يمنع صحتها فعل. Okay, فاعل and this is the مفعول به. وإن حلك بعض المبيع مضاف إليه جازت الإقالة فاعل في باقيه. Okay, باب المرابحة والتولية is عطف onto this. So this is هذا مبتدأ and then the rest. Okay, let's go down. Alright, so المرابحة. Okay, so المرابحة نقل ما, this is مضاف. ملكه, this is the مضاف إليه. Okay, مضاف إليه. بالعقد الأول بالثمن الأول مع زيادة ربح. والتولية مبتدأ نقل ما ملكه بالعقد الأول بالثمن الأول من غير زيادة رادة ربح مضاف إليه. ولا تصح المرابحة ولا التولية. Okay, so that's we'll put together becomes the فاعل of تصح حتى يكون. Why is it يكون with a نصب فتحة؟ العوض اسم of يكون مما له مثل. ويجوز أن يضيف إلى رأس المال أجرة القصار. This is قصار, قصر يقصر قصار. والصباغ والطراز والفتل. وأجرة حمل الطعام. All of these are عطف onto sorry, my mistake. This is not أجرتي, it's أجرته حمل الطعام. Alright, so all of these are عطف onto قصار. Yeah, and then أجرته is عطف onto أجرة over here. Yeah, so that's basically there. ويقول فاعل قام علي بكذا جار مجرور. لا يقول اشتريته فاعل بكذا. فإن اطلع المشتري على خيانة في المرابحة فهو بالخيار عند أبي حنيفة. إن شاء أخذه بجميع الثمن وإن شاء رده. وإن اطلع على خيانة في التولية أسقطها المشتري من الثمن. وقال أبو يوسف يحط حتى يحط فيهما. Okay, and finally the last line says وقال محمد. So Muhammad rahimahullah says لا يحط فيهما لكن يخير. خير يخير فيهما. Okay, So let's have a look at this then. He says, Babu al-Iqala. So let's explain this. Yeah, let's have a nice explanation of this. What is it saying over here? So if you remember in the first lesson when I explained to you guys about deals, yeah, transactions and deals, we said if two people make a contract, so let's say for example these two guys, they made the contract, yeah, they've done ijab and qabul, he's happy, deal is done, okay, so transaction is done. Let's say he's selling a washing machine and he is obviously going to give him cash. So what happens over here is they can't break the contract unless an aib is found, a defect is found in it, or he hasn't seen it, or he's taken out khiyar shart. Yeah. But what if they are truly they're truly regretting the deal and they want to break the deal? Can they break the deal? Well, yes. The good news is they can break the deal. So this breaking of the contract, is what is known as Iqala. Okay, so this is why breaking the contract, although Iqala doesn't mean to break, it just means to pardon. Yeah, so in other words, if the seller wants to ask for it, he can get it. If the buyer wants to ask for it, he can get it. But it's all bilateral. Okay, so it's mutual. Both sides have to be happy. You can't force someone to give your money back or your item back. And the condition is basically you have to give back. So let's say, for example, he bought this washing machine for £200. He has to give back the exact £200 that he took. Yeah, the exact £200. And if he was to, on the other hand, say, well, you know what? Like the buyer says, I want more. Yeah. He said, I want more back. I want 300 back. Yeah, not 200. I want plus 100 on top as well. So 200 plus 100. Yeah, then this is not allowed. This will not be counted as being Iqala. This will actually be counted as a new transaction. It's as though now the buyer has become the seller and the seller has become the buyer. Right, that's what's happened. Right, so it's like a new deal for £300. Yeah, so it's become a £300 deal now. So it's like a new transaction. It's not breaking of the previous one. And if the other guy, let's say for example, he says, right, he said, I'm only going to give you back. You want it back? I'm only going to give you back 100. If he says, I'm only going to give you back 100, then again, this will not be counted as Iqala. This is counted as a new contract. This will be counted as a new contract. This is the new deal. That's what they're basically saying. Okay, so in other words, what's the difference between the two then? So the difference is that the deal has to be done on exactly the amount that was stipulated. Any more, new contract. Any less, it's a new contract. All right, so that's basically what it says. So, al-iqalatu, iqala, so pardoning, is jaizatun, is permissible, fil bay'i, in the trade, lil bay'i, for the seller and the mushtari, and for the buyer, bi mithli thaman al-awwali, in exchange for similar to the first price. And the reason it says similar to the first price, because the other guy might have used up the first price. So he gives something similar back. He might have used up that £200, but now he's going to give another £200, which is similar to the first £200. Okay. فَإِنْ شَرَطَ, if however one of the parties says, I'm going to give you back less. Like who would say that? The seller would, wouldn't he? Seller has taken £200. The buyer says, please, can I give the washing machine back? He goes, okay, but I'm only going to give you back £100. Oh, akthara, or he's taking it back more. Like we said in the case of the buyer. The seller comes to the buyer and says, can I have my washing machine back, sir? And the buyer goes, okay, but you have to give me £300. Yeah. So, فَالشَّرْطُ بَاطِلٌ, this shart is going to be considered to be batil, right? It won't be allowed. And if it does go through, then they will treat it as a new contract. It will treat it as a new contract. Okay. وَيُرَدُّ الثَّمَنَ الْأَوَّلِ وَيُرَدُّ مِثْلَ الثَّمَنِ الْأَوَّلِ يَرُدُّ, he will give back مِثْلَ الثَّمَنِ الْأَوَّلِ, like the first price. So how much was the first price? 200. He gives back 200. Now, what do we call this contract now? Here's where the scholars differed about this contract. So Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Abu Yusuf, they differ on this. Yeah, what do you actually call? I won't actually go through the ikhtilaf. I don't think I need to go through the ikhtilaf. Yeah. But Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, they have a different position on each one. Right? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says that the contract is considered to be a fasakh, it will be counted as a voiding of the previous contract. Legally, it's counted as a voiding of the contract, but partial voiding. Voiding between the two parties only. Yeah, so it's only voiding between the two parties, meaning for the onlooker, let's say there's someone else who sees what's happening, they will actually see two contracts take place. The first contract was the money being given there, the washing machine being given there. That was contract number one. And then the second contract is the money being given back and the washing machine given back. So that's two contracts, that is. It's like the buyer bought the washing machine and then he sold it back to the seller. All right, so this is why he says, وَهِيَ فَسْخٌ, this will be counted as a fasakh, as a voiding of the initial contract, في حق المتعاقدين, but only in respect to the two parties. Yeah, and it will be counted as a بيع جديد في حق غيرهما. This will be counted as a new contract in regards to everyone else, right? So everyone else, like the onlooker basically, when they see it, they will simply see two contracts, the one contract and the second contract. All right. Now, you're going to probably say, well, what's the difference? Isn't it just the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. Later on, when we do shufa, inshallah, we're going to do shufa. When we do shufa, in shufa, I'm going to say to you, do you remember when we talked about the Iqala contract? You're going to say, oh yeah. You're going to say, well, over there, that's where it's going to be counted. Actually, let me explain to you. Now, shall I tell you Imam Abu Yusuf's position? Shall I not tell you Imam Abu Yusuf's position? First of all, I'll think about it. Let me tell you about how houses are sold. Let me tell you how houses are sold. So let me draw it here. Let's say, for example, like I have a house. Let's call this house A. Okay, this is house. And next door to this house, we have house B. Okay, house B. So this guy, he wants to sell his house. So if I just zoom it in there so you can see better. Yeah, he wants to sell his house. So what normally happens is, what you do is you go to your next door neighbor. You ask your next door neighbor, do you want the house? Right? So he either is going to say yes or he's going to say no. Right? If he says no, he gets the right to buy the house off you first. He gets first choice, first priority. Right? This guy is known as the shafi'. Okay, this guy is known as the shafi'. Yeah, the neighbor who has the right of intercession. But if he says no, then this guy can now sell it to anyone he wants. Right? So he goes and sells it to some random guy. Let's call him X, Mr. X. So he's going to sell it to Mr. X. That's fine now. So the issue would arise over here. Let's say, for example, Mr. X buys the house. All right. So he's got this whole bag of money. He buys the house. But the problem is that Mr. X wants the money back. He wants to get Iqala. So according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, what would happen is, if the money was actually given back and the house was given back, what would happen is, between these two, it would be counted as a fasakh. But for this guy over here, he would actually see the exchange or the re-exchange of the money and the house as a new contract. So now this guy would have to ask the neighbor permission a second time now. First of all, this guy asked, remember, but now it's going to be Mr. X is going to ask that. So why? Because for them, it's a new contract. Yeah, so this guy sees it as a new contract. And that's why Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah here brings up this masala, that he says it's actually considered to be a new contract in respect to the parties. Okay, does that make sense? That's what Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah he says. Alright, so let's see what Imam Abu Yusuf says. Imam Abu Yusuf says this will be counted as a new contract, a new bayt in regards to everyone. So although it's Iqala, but it's really a new bayt taking place. That's what he says. And Imam Muhammad, he says no. He says this will be counted as a fasakh. Fasakh. And if it cannot be counted as a fasakh, then you consider it to be a bayt. Right? So if you can't do fasakh, then you treat it as bayt. And Abu Yusuf says if you do bayt, if you can't do bayt, you do fasakh. Yeah. So that's basically how they deal with this. Now, Imam al-Qudoori doesn't mention their opinion, but if you read Hidayah, and you'll find it over there as well. Right. So let's get back to this then. So he says, في قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. Should have done that in red color, shouldn't I? It makes it all match. Right, now, here's a question now. The question for you guys is this. What if this guy, he buys a washing machine, but the problem is that the washing machine, right, this guy sells the washing machine rather, and this guy buys it, and the washing machine gets damaged. Yeah, then what? Or let's say this guy, the seller, he takes the cash, and the cash gets damaged, like stolen or it's used up. Then what? Does it mean that the breaking of the contract, the voiding of the contract cannot happen? So not necessarily. So the rule basically is this. If the cash gets perished, halaku thaman la yamna sihhat al-iqala, does not stop the validity of the iqala. Iqala will still go through. Right? Why? Because remember we talked about this before once. We said cash is considered to be a fungible item. It can be replaced easy. So if you lost that £200, if you used it up, you can replace it with another £200. That's fine. Isn't a problem. But if the mabi gets destroyed, وَحَلَاكُ الْمَبِي, the goods, يَمْنَعْ صِحَّتَهَا, this will stop the contract from going through, simply because the contract is based upon the goods. Yeah, so the goods are really the thing in the contract. So because the goods get destroyed, if the goods get destroyed, there's no contract. If the cash gets destroyed, there still is a contract because the contract is based around the goods, not around the cash. All right. Well, what if 50% of it got destroyed? What if, let's say, the wire got burnt or there's a part in that got damaged? Then what? In halaka. Oh, sorry, this is my mistake. It's supposed to be ba'du. Okay, ba'du. I apologize, guys. I apologize. If part of the goods got destroyed, جازت الإقالة في باقيه, in its remainder. So if 50% gets destroyed, he can get back 50% of the money. So let's say 50% of the washing machine got destroyed, it's still repairable. Then he gives only £100 back. Yeah, and if 25% of it got destroyed, then he gives back £150, and so forth. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's straightforward. That is Iqala. This is the chapter of what we call Iqala, nullifying of the contract. Now we're going to move on to Tawliya. I thought, shall I just do the bab of Iqala and just leave the rest? Yeah, and then I thought, no, you know what? I want to finish this book, so I'm going to try my best to try and continue with this, especially with Soul Hung. Brother Soul Hung is asking that he's been watching these videos for many years. I will do it, inshallah. Right, so Bab al-Murabaha and Tawliya. So what is Murabaha and what is Tawliya? What is happening over here? So let's say, for example, there is a businessman. Let's call this businessman, should we call him Khalid? Let's call him Khalid. Khalid, the businessman. Khalid buys goods from his wholesale. Right, so this is Mr. Wholesale. Let's give him a nice wholesale hat. He's got a wholesale hat and he's got a nice smile as well. So when he buys the goods, so let's say, for example, he buys a washing machine off him, that deal is fine. Now, what Khalid wants to do, he wants to sell washing machines. Let's call his shop Washing Machine Shop. That's the name of his shop. Right, you come down to his shop, washing machine shop. So customers come to his shop. One of the things that he tries to do is tries to get customers to buy stuff. And one of the ways that he sort of like makes his deal worth it is he might want to say to you, look, I will sell the washing machine to you and I will tell you how much I bought it for. So I bought this washing machine, he'll say, I bought this washing machine for £300 and I'm going to sell it to you and make £50 profit on top. He tells the guy how much profit he's going to make. That's how honest he is, right? This is called cost plus Murabaha. He's telling you the ribh that he's making, okay? And if he was actually to be really, really kind, like, sometimes to your cousins and to your uncles, you're like really good to them. They come to you, they want to buy a washing machine from your shop. You say, you know what? Just take the washing machine for 300. I got it for 300, cost price. Yeah. I will not make a penny from this. I'll sell it to you what I got it for. So if you sell something for the exact amount, this is called Tawliya, cost price. So this is cost price and this is called cost plus, right? Ribh. Just remember that, ribh plus. Now this guy is obviously going to be excited. Wow, yeah, ooh. Right, you see his emotions there. Now, this is the definition of it. He says, al-murabahatu, so cost plus is naqlu, is transferring ma malakahu, is transferring what he has owned. So he has owned a washing machine. He's transferring that to this guy over here. Yeah. Bil aqd al-awwali, with the initial contract. This is the initial contract with that guy. Bil thaman al-awwali, for the exact same price, which was £300, ma'a ziyadati ribhin, with some excess on top. Right, that £50 on top. What tawliya, and what is tawliya? Naqlu ma malakahu bil aqd al-awwali bil thaman al-awwal, is transferring what he owned in the first contract, min ghayri ziyadati ribhin, without making any profit, without excess profit. All right. Okay. Now, there's obviously some conditions for this. When have ever Hanafis ever explained something in buyu without there being conditions? There's always conditions for it. So what are the conditions for this? So one of the conditions, let's write this over here. So let's write down conditions. To put over here, conditions. So the first condition is the thing that you bought it for. So let's say, for example, this guy actually bought it from him. Yeah, he bought it for £300. Yeah, this is called the iwad, the exchanged goods. The iwad that he bought it for from this guy, he paid him, has to be something that is fungible. It must be fungible. It must be available. Like it can be replaceable. Therefore, you can't do murabaha and tawliya if you bought it for something that's unique. Like let's say Khalid bought this for, I don't know, a cow. Moo. Right? So it's supposed to be a cow. Yeah. With horns. Yeah. So he bought this for a cow. So if he bought this for a cow, then he cannot sell it on. Why? Because he doesn't know how much he's going to sell it to him for. So if he says, I bought this washing machine for a cow, right? You're going to say, okay, what do I have to do then? Do I have to give you a cow? Well, he can try to give him a cow, but if he gives another cow, that cow will not be identical to this cow, and therefore this will not be a truly murabaha tawliya sale, right? So it cannot be something which is, everyone understand? So he says, لا تصح المرابحة ولا التولية, murabaha and tawliya are not valid حتى يكون العوض, so this is the iwad, mimma, from that which lahu, which has mithal, something similar, i.e. it's fungible. Therefore, if it's non-fungible like a cow, then you cannot give it. That's the first condition. So it has to be, let's write this down. It has to be, the iwad has to be fungible. The washing machine does not have to be fungible. Yeah. So washing machine doesn't, but the iwad, this has to be fungible. Okay, second condition. You're allowed to add to the original price. You're allowed to add to the original price any extra costs. Yeah. So for example, let's say you bought a washing machine and you fixed up this washing machine, you made some repairs to this washing machine. You can actually add those up. So you might say, oh, I changed the wire for this, that cost me £20. And I also, spray painted it, that cost me £5. And I also cleaned it, and that cost me, let's say, £5 to clean. So you're allowed to add all of these up onto the original £300 price, right? But remember, you cannot say I bought it for, so 20 plus 5 plus 5 is 40, right? So 40 plus 300. You can't say I bought it for 340. No, you can't say that, because that's a lie. You have to say, altogether, for me, it came up to £340. You can say that. Okay? So, he says, وَيَجُوزُ, permissible, and yudifa, to add, like all these, add, ila ra'sil mal, to the capital. Capital is the original sum. Yeah, 300. Ujrata qassar, the fee of the washer, clothes washer. So let's say it's a clothes, some rug that you bought, and then you went and gave it to the dry cleaners to clean. You can add that to the original price. Was-sabbagh, and the dyer. Wat-tarraz, and the guy who does embroidery. You added some nice designs to it. Fatal, if it's some thread, you've got someone to tie the thread together, knot it, plait it. Wa-ujrat hamli ta'am, and if it's food, you've carried it from, let's say, Manchester to another city it cost you for courier's cost, right? You can add all of that, right? So you don't have to sell it for exactly what you paid that guy. You can add other costs as well, but you have to be careful in the wording. How's the wording? وَيَقُولُ قَامَ عَلَيَّ بِكَذَا, and he must say, it stood up upon me for this much, meaning it came up upon me for this much, so like 430. وَلَا يَقُولُ, and he must not say اشْتَرَيْتُ بِكَذَا, that's a lie. He can't say I bought it for this much, because he didn't buy it for that much. Yeah, we know he didn't buy it for that much. Okay, now, what if, this is the last masala now. That's why I said this is not very long, but it's long. So what if like some cheat has been found in there? The buyer has now come across, oh, you ripped me off, you lied to me. This is called khiyana, yeah, dishonesty. So let's say the buyer comes across some dishonesty, right? What happens in this case? So Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Abu Yusuf, and Imam Muhammad, they differ on this matter, right? So is that dishonesty found in Murabaha, or is it found in Tawliya? Which one is it found in? Okay, so if we make a nice table like this, I like making this kind of table. When I was in madrasa, I used to make loads of tables. Yeah, I'm the table maker. So if you guys are table makers as well, put it in the comments below as well, and give me some ideas of how you make notes in lessons. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he says, if you find khiyana, if you find like deception in Murabaha, yeah, then he says you have a choice. Yeah, you can either take it for the full price that you bought it for. So let's say the guy said, oh, I bought it for £340 and I'm making £50 on top. That's £390. Yeah, so he said £390. Yeah, which is 340 plus 50, and he lied about the 340. He didn't buy it for 340, he bought it for 300. So there's like £40 there, which is problematic. So Imam Hanifa says he's got a choice: either take it for the full 390, right, and just go, or just break the contract, yeah, void it, give everything back. Yeah, so he says you got a choice in that. And as for the Tawliya one, well, in the Tawliya one, he says if you do find it in Tawliya, you must get a discount. Discount. Yeah. So you must say, okay, 390, right, take off minus 40. Yeah, you get £40 partial refund. You have to get a discount. Now Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, he says, so let's look at what Imam Hanifa says. Abu Hanifa says, فَإِنِ اطَّلَعَ الْمُشْتَرِي عَلَى خِيَانَةٍ, if the mushtari becomes aware of a khiyana, فِي الْمُرَابَحَةِ فَهُوَ بِالْخِيَارِ, he has a choice. We've done that there. In the Abi Hanifa, according to Imam Hanifa rahimahullah, إِنْ شَاءَ أَخَذَهُ بِجَمِيعِ ثَمَنِ, if he wants, he takes it for the full price, yeah, full price, which was 390. وَإِنْ شَاءَ, and if he wants a رَدَّهُ, he can return it and get his full refund back. وَإِنِ اطَّلَعَ عَلَى خِيَانَةٍ فِي التَّوْلِيَةِ, however, if he finds a khiyana in the tawliya, أَسْقَطَهَا الْمُشْتَرِي مِنَ الثَّمَنِ, the mushtari will drop it from the price. So we said discount. Okay. All right. So what does Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah say? Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah says he gets a discount in both. So discount. Actually, let's do it in a blue color. Blue will be discount color. Okay. I think that's more consistent. So discount. Disc. Okay. Disc. He says in both cases. So whether it's done in Murabaha or whether it's in Tawliya, yeah. So, sorry, why did I give this example for Tawliya? Tawliya would be, obviously, if he says that he bought it for 340 and he's selling it to you for 340, and then you find that he's lying, then you can discount from there the minus the 40. So you basically get it for 300. Yeah, that should be the example for the discount. Discount. And Imam Muhammad rahimahullah, what does he say? He says, in both you have a choice. Choice. Okay, so Imam Muhammad said no. Choice. So let's have a look at this then. So he says, وَقَالَ أَبُو يُوسُفَ, Imam Abu Yusuf says, يَحُطُّ, he will decrease, the buyer will get a discount, فِيهِمَا, in both cases. Right, so this one and this one. And what does Imam Muhammad rahimahullah say? He says, قَالَ مُحَمَّدٌ لَا يَحُطُّ فِيهِمَا, he will not get a discount in either of them. لكن يخير فيهما. However, he will be given a choice in each one. So he won't get a drop in the price, but he'll just get a choice. Either keep it for 340 or leave it. Keep it for 390 or leave it. And that's it, guys. That is today's masala. I hope it was beneficial for you guys. You understood it. I know it's a bit long. These days lessons are a bit long. Let's just summarize this and let's try to look at if you guys have understood this properly. Let's just question. What is Iqala? Put in the comments. Pause it now. Put in the comments. What is Iqala? Okay, Iqala is when you give back the goods and you get back the money for the same amount that you got it for. Next question. What if one of the two parties wants to give less back, or one of the two parties wants to get more back? Will that be Iqala? We say no, it won't be Iqala. That's going to be considered to be shart batil. Right? You're not allowed to. Okay. Can you? What does Imam Abu Hanifa consider Iqala to fall under in bay'? He considers it to fall under avoiding of a contract between the two parties only, not between everyone else. What does Abu Yusuf consider it? He considers it a new bay', and otherwise fasakh. What does Imam Muhammad consider it? He considers it fasakh, voiding, otherwise a new bay'. Okay, let's say for example the cash got damaged. It's been used up. It's no longer there anymore. Can they still do an Iqala? Yes. And what if the goods get damaged? Can they still do Iqala? If it's totally perished, then no. If it's partially perished, then they get the amount of partial refund. Yep. Okay. Alright, Murabaha and Tawliya. What's Murabaha and Tawliya about? So Murabaha and Tawliya is cost plus, and Murabaha and Tawliya basically, in today's times, a lot of these Islamic financial institutes, they use Murabaha as a means of basically making money, right? Which, let's say, for example, because a lot of you guys ask this question, let's say, for example, you want to buy a house, right? And I'm a wealthy person. This is LZ, wealthy person. And you come to me and you say to me, LZ, can we please buy the house off you? Can you please buy, I don't own this house. Can we please buy this house? And I go, okay, I'll buy the house for, let's say, 200,000. Yeah, I'll buy the house for 200,000. And then I will sell it to you for 220,000. So I'm going to make a £20,000 profit. Yeah, that is called Murabaha. That's what happens in a lot of these trades where people will buy something in bulk, or they have money, investors, and then they'll sell it to other people on an agreement that this is how much you're going to make on top. This is one of the alternatives to a conventional mortgage. So in a conventional mortgage, what you do is you actually make money off money. Here, you're not making money off money. You're making money off the tangible goods, which is a house. So making money off money is haram. Making money off goods. So let me just show you just making money off money. So if I was the bank lender and you came to me and you want to buy this house, I would say, okay, I'll give you 200,000. I'll give you that 200,000 to buy that house. And then you're going to give it to, obviously, the owner of the house. But then you have to pay me back 220,000 because of the loan you borrowed. That 20,000 extra is interest. That's haram, days. That is not allowed. Whereas making £20 from selling something, that's allowed. See the difference? Good. Let's go to Murabaha. You can read more about this in, normally when I do Hidayah, I go into a lot of detail. And then if you read Mufti Taqi Usmani, he has a book called Introduction to Islamic Finance. I'll try to leave a link in the description below in the comments. Intro to Islamic Finance. Yeah, so Intro to Islamic Finance. So this book is really good in helping you understand how today modern day Islamic finance companies they work and some of the models that they use. And one of them is Murabaha. Okay, next question is, what is Murabaha? So Murabaha is selling something to someone for the same price that you bought it for. Yeah, with some profit on top. And what's Tawliya? Selling something to someone for the same price you bought it for with no profit on top. Okay, what are the conditions for? There's two conditions. Number one is the thing that you've given to the original seller. It has to be fungible, and if it's non-fungible like a cow, then you can't do it. That's the first condition. And what's the second condition? Second condition is that you're allowed to add to the capital original amount any fees that you had to pay for, right? So anything that overheads that you had to pay for, you can add those on. But you mustn't say you bought it for that much. You have to say it came up to that much. And finally, dishonesty. If dishonesty is found, how does it work? Abu Hanifa says, in Murabaha, choice, in Tawliya, necessary discount. Abu Yusuf says in both discount, Muhammad says in both discount. Okay guys, Jazakumullah khair wa ahsan al-jaza. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. Let me know in the comments if there's any other questions that you might have related to these topics. Also, thank you to all my patrons for supporting my channel. It means a lot to me, honestly. You guys supporting my channel helps me a lot to be able to build this content. If anyone out there is thinking about becoming a sponsor of this channel, please consider checking out the description. Check out my other videos as well. And may Allah accept it from all of you guys. I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.